Hey everybody, it's Thursday, March 31st, and this is the Scandalous Scandal Recap. I am Larry Brown Jr., joined by my friend Janiyah Wright. Janiyah, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, LBJ. Good evening, everybody. I am so excited for the chat tonight.
Absolutely. This is Season 5, Episode 16 for Scandal, Season 4, Episode 16 for us of the
Yes.
Scandalous Scandal Recap, The Miseducation of Susan Ross. Let us jump into the conversation. But first, if you are watching us right now, right now, like 8 minutes past the top of the hour on Thursday, thank you so much for watching us live. We appreciate you. Tell your friends that the Scandal Recap is on right now. Use the hashtag.
Right now.
Tell your friends. We want the chat to boom and grow like it always has been, thanks to people like you. Out the gate, Cynthia is here. Toronto, Canada is here. Tonight, I also have with me 5 ladies.
Hey,
and yes, the nectar. Janiyah saying hey to you, Cynthia. And yes, she says, and yes, the nectar has been flowing, so we might not say much. Oh, Cynthia. Cynthia's bringing a new meaning to the nectar tonight. She says, LB and Miss Janiyah, the ladies would like to be members. To be members, could you kind of let them know if that is all right for them to be added to your channel? Of course.
Please join us. Absolutely.
Welcome to the Scandal Recap. You are a part of the family simply by being here now.
You're in like Schwinn.
Yeah, like Schwinn. So I need you guys.
Oh, God.
But here's the thing. I need you ladies to lean in close to the screen. Like, come in closer. Right. Get in close and tweet or write on the comments on the YouTube video because we need to hear from you. We want to hear from you. So don't be afraid. Janiyah, Olivia Pope was off the chain tonight already.
Really
Zoe Email says, I agree. I am not feeling this new Olivia. That's because Yolanda Baker previously said, can I keep it real with you? Live?
Yeah.
Like at the dough head.
Yeah.
Janiyah, let's start with tonight's episode. Go.
Let's definitely start because you know what? I have to agree with the people in the chat. I was not feeling Liv tonight. Thank you so much for saying it, Yolanda and Zoe. I mean, even at the end of the episode, I texted LBJ like, WTF. Like, I am just not feeling Liv at all right now. But let's hop in. LBJ, we started this episode where we left things last week.
Oh, yes.
At the Republican debate.
Yes.
Okay? So who are our 3 candidates? Number 1, Melly, whose campaign manager is none other than OPA herself, okay?
Yeah.
And then we have also Doyle, also known as Donald Trump. Like, he's the absolute worst, Hollis Doyle.
Yeah, Hollis.
And then
Hollis. Yes.
And then the 3rd candidate is Susan Ross, who are the scandal Muppet, right? LBJ, I actually have a surprise for you tonight.
Please do not tell me you were over there like a sock puppet or something over there like, I'm Susan Ross. Oh my gosh.
This is now Susan Ross.
Okay.
Hey everybody, I'm running for president.
Okay. If you're gonna do that, you have to commit to it. That you need to find a marker, like when I'm talking, like go off camera, find a marker, and mark the eyeballs and the nose on that.
Really get this together.
You have to bring the mouth down when you talk.
That's right.
We don't talk like this. We talk like this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's in reverse. It's in reverse.
Got it.
Nope. Yes. So it's not biting the words. It's got it. See the difference between this versus this.
LBJ, add puppeteer to the list of things that Janiyah Wright is whack at. Anyway, so I will tell you who else was whack tonight. Melly. Okay, LBJ, we have to start with Melly at this Republican debate.
Let me tell you, Melly at that. Yes, go.
Go ahead, LBJ, because she was the worst.
Melly was the worst, and we actually did hear that tonight in the episode that Melly is the absolute worst. Yeah. But I think that Melly is stuck, right? Like Melly has all this going on. She's fighting all these internal battles. Olivia is trying her best to coach her through this entire scenario.
Yes.
She actually was doing a good job, Janiyah. She began delivering those canned talking points that Olivia rehearsed with her. We saw that when Olivia was backstage watching on the monitor, and she says, millions, not billions, and things like that. And Olivia saying it in sync with her. It worked. Then Melly got flipped and flubbed, and she didn't know what to do. So Hollis Doyle is coming out in all his Hollis Doyle-ness. I took them people and took the cantaloupe pickers and put the cantaloupe pickers back in the field like they should have been, and I'm going to build that wall over there. And he's doing all this talk and all this grandstanding there. Meanwhile, Muppet is standing over there like, and she's like, Sally Langston's like, Madam Vice President, do you have something to say? No.
You know what? At the beginning of the debate, Susan Ross was absolutely the worst.
She was losing. She was the absolute worst. And then there was just like this complete pivot that took place, and things began to change. Melly was on the uptick for this debate. Hollis Doyle looked like the Hollis Doyle only he could look like. And Susan Ross was losing. Then, bam, Susan Ross wakes up after the break, after the president calls her, gives her a pep talk on the phone, and he gives her the pep talk, and she comes out the gate almost like she did in that first segment, but then she started delivering, and she delivered a heartfelt answer that was a game-changing answer, and it threw Melly off of her game. Susan Ross ended up winning that debate. It was amazing.
She absolutely did, LBJ, and we have to talk about Hollis. I mean, of everyone on the debate, I would say that Hollis probably, really had the poorest performance. And we should just talk about Hollis really quickly so we can wrap up his storyline for the night. Hollis tonight, other than the moments in the debate, we didn't hear from him. We didn't talk to him. In the debate, Melly tried to call him out for being a businessman and not a politician. And what he basically said was, I'm a businessman, but guess what? Life is business, and I'm not going to be ashamed of that. And my business experience is what has prepared me to do this work as the president of the United States. So that completely failed. And in fact, Hollis, he stomped all over Melly when she tried to turn the tables on him. But when Susan Ross finally kind of woke up, and got activated, she's the one that that actually took Hollis Doyle out the game. And LBJ, let's talk about what Susan Ross did to get Hollis Doyle out the game.
Oh my gosh.
Susan Ross, she was there again looking, as she often does, like a deer in headlights, or like my wool ski sock, which is also what she looks like, okay? This is Susan Ross right here, looking completely stuck on stupid. And LBJ.
Sidebar, I want to sing, this is Lamb Chops, play along. Like, you have Lamb Chop over there.
Play along. LBJ. And no one wants to play with you, Susan Ross, at the beginning of this debate, because she was doing a horrible job. And then what happens? She gets the pep talk. Who gives her the pep talk? Is it Lizzie Bear DeGeneres? No. Is it David Rosen? No. It's Fitz, LBJ. He gets on the phone and he says to her, you know what? And I'm going to use my Colt 45 voice.
Go ahead, Billy.
He said, you know what? Don't sweat it, Susan Ross. You got this, boo. Okay. All you need is one good quote. Just drop the mic. That's all you got to do, Susan Ross. And then you'll win this debate. Take them, boo. Take them. And Susan Ross said, okay. And LBJ, that's exactly what she did. When she found her opportunity, which was a pivot, it was a pivot from a statement Melly had made. Melly was there trying to, really overcome all of this feeling around, Fitz and his failings as a man being attached to her presidency and to her. And she kind of says, you know what? Melly says, I'm not my husband's keeper. Don't hold me responsible for the stuff he does. And Susan Ross said, well, you know what? You're not your husband's keeper, but maybe you should have been. And maybe we all should be. And she leads right into this epic speech, LBJ, where she did drop that mic. And she basically said, you know what? I wish I was a better keeper of my husband, because he's dead now. He was out there in these streets, defending America over there. So she thought. Come to find out, what he was actually doing overseas was defending business interests She calls out Hollis Doyle
Yes,
as one of
indeed.
her business interests that her husband was defending when he was killed in the line of fire out overseas, as a part of the military life. And LBJ, she hit all the points. She bashed business, she bashed Melly, she bashed Doyle, and she also was so pro-America and she was so pro-military. LBJ, she completely killed it. She won the heck out of that debate.
She did, and it was like she believed in that speech that Fitz told her. Tomorrow they will be talking about the winner. They were not talking about how many times you messed up or anything. They will be talking about the winner. Susan Ross wanted to emerge as the winner, and she did just that. Melly had some issues with that, and so she goes to Olivia, and she's like, "I want to win, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win," and she's so down in the dumps. And it's almost like as if she'd been listening to the Scandal recap, and she was sitting there, and she got that sad melty sound that you hear on there. It's like, oops, wrong one. We need a button producer.
We did not have a repeat of last week where these buttons are just completely awry.
All right,
take two, LBJ.
Take two. And it was just like she was listening to watching the Scandal recap, and she had that sad melty feeling, and she was like, and she began melting right in front of Olivia.
I want to tell you, take two did not resonate because you ruined it. I just want to let you know.
How did I ruin it?
You didn't get the sound effect, right on the first try. So by the second time, we didn't experience it fully. I just want you to know that.
You heard it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So listen. So Olivia sees her melting in that chair, and she's like, "Hold on, girlfriend. Look. You're not gonna fall on this. You're not gonna fall down on me. I will get you the Oval. I become hell or high water."
Whoa!
What? Have we not heard that before?
Yeah. LBJ, that was profound. That was profound.
To me, it was profound for two reasons, and I'll be quick. It was profound, one, because Olivia is taking plays out of her father's playbook. That is the only book that she is playing with, it seems like right now, on this show, because she's operating out of a place of brokenness and bitterness, and I can talk about that a little bit later because I don't want the ladies mad at me tonight. The second thing that I think that we need to, I want to point out about Olivia saying that line is, could it be that she might lean on her father to help take some action? Because he said to her, "I am the hell and the high water."
Yes, he did,
so will she summon the hell and the high water? It remains to be seen.
Okay, that one landed, LBJ. That one landed. That was good. You're now redeemed. LBJ, we watched, so Olivia's pep talk to Melly was probably that it was either first or second, but it was either the first or second super awesome pep talk of the night. Olivia is there, and we see the look of fire in her eyes when she tells Melly that she is guaranteeing Melly that presidency. She said, "I'm going to get you to the Oval." She made a guarantee, LBJ. And if there's one thing we have watched Olivia do time and time again, it is make good. Now, the only times that Olivia has ever failed LBJ has been when she's gone against her father. Her father is the only one that she can't actually beat. Right. So it was so interesting, her exact wording, "come hell or high water," which obviously symbolizes her father. That one thing, that one hurdle that always continues to be a barrier for her to success and whatever it is she's doing is her father. And she said, "come hell or high water, I'm going to get you to the Oval." So LBJ, Olivia has given her guarantee. The question is, can she make good with a candidate that America doesn't like? We see Melly out on these streets. She is the worst. And she's so bad, in fact, that Marcus, my fiance, I've upgraded us now. We're no longer just lovers. We're now getting married.
Well, you might have some competition.
He was so scrumptious in this episode, just walking around telling Melly off. I really enjoyed it. I know. So we see Marcus accompany Marcus, my number one. We see Marcus accompanying Melly on the campaign trail, and he's taking her. He doesn't even want to do it because he feels like this is grunt work. He wants to be doing something else for the campaign. And Olivia is like, listen, sir, do whatever I'm telling you to do. You go take Melly on this here campaign trail. He gets so overwhelmed with Melly and how awful she is. She's so whiny and she's so entitled. He finally just says to her, are you kidding me? Oh, Melly, I can't stand you. It's killing me how annoying you are. This is why I don't like you, and this is why America doesn't like you. It's because you're super whiny, you're super entitled, you're super annoying, nobody likes you. And it becomes a really important moment, LBJ, because other people, including Olivia and all of the America and the world, were telling Melly that she was annoying. But it was when Marcus said it that I think it hit home. What did you think of that whole Melly-Marcus interaction?
First of all, I want to say that I love how Marcus is emerging as a gladiator, how he's developing as a gladiator. Tonight, he did not care. Did you just say yummy?
Yummo. That's right. That is a beautiful man. That is a beautiful man. Let the record show. That is a beautiful man.
Oh man, you're hilarious.
Somebody not just say it.
I'm sure there are women in the chat that agree with that as well. So I think that we see him emerging and developing as this mega gladiator, and then he further asserts himself in front of Olivia, and he bosses up in front of OPA, like the OP and the OPA, and she's like wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
What? And he's just like, yeah. She's like, go with her. He's like, okay. And he's like, oh, are you ready to go, Melly? Come on, let's go. My bag is over there. He's like, he actually kind of cuts to camera a little bit. He's like he cuts to the camera. I love that moment. Because it really caused him to connect with the people who I'm sure who had a reaction or were reacting to her saying that to him, because it was almost a little helpish. And he's like, wait a minute. To me, that look was like, wait, I'm not the help. Let me be clear. I am not the help. I am here to do a job. I'm being paid to do this. He even said, I don't like you, so I'm not going to be catering to you like that. But I love the fact that he got her together. Yes. He got her straight. He got her together. I think that's what you probably liked about it, because you like how he got her together.
Straight. He got her straight, LBJ. He got her real straight. By the time Marcus got finished with her, she was able to not take herself so seriously. The whole exercise that Marcus was wanting her to take on was going on the Jimmy Kimmel show. Jimmy Kimmel, he always brings celebrities on the show to read mean tweets. I actually love those clips on YouTube. Jimmy Kimmel really does this. Yeah. He brings celebrities on to read mean tweets about themselves. And it's an opportunity. It's like a celebrity roast, where the celebrity gets a chance to sit there and not take themselves seriously. Melly didn't want to do it. She thought she was too good. It was Gettysburg all over again. And Marcus talked her into it, checked her so good, checked her at the front door for a $3 door check. And there she was on Jimmy Kimmel reading off those mean tweets. So he really, really got her in line. And as a result, she had a moment of translatability.
She did. She became human to the people, and you saw her connect and kind of go through that transformation live on television while she was reading the tweets, and she connected with the audience. So she began to tear down that barrier thanks to Marcus. I also need to point out that Marcus said to her, "You are officially the worst," and she looked at him like, "Wait, I'm the former first lady. You're saying this to me?" And he was like, "I'm saying it to you. I'm not fucking down." And then he also walked in to smooth it over with her, and he read the mean tweets about himself to her when he ran for mayor. And Janiyah, what did he say that he had, according to Twitter, which probably was really Black Twitter? They didn't want to say Black Twitter. What did Twitter say he had? The Twitterverse.
They said he had a high booty, LBJ.
Hashtag high booty. He said they said, wear high-waisted pants and squeeze my butt a little tight. So he said to let my booty go on high.
Hey, you know what, LBJ? I'm going to tell you, that was Marcus letting Melly know that he really did know what she was going through. he had run for mayor, he had endured this public scrutiny, and he had already had that experience of needing to conclude that you can't take yourself so seriously out here in these streets.
Yeah.
And I think the other reason, LBJ, that they pointed us back to Marcus's former run for mayor, and Stephanie Beard called it out in the chat. She says, I've got my eye on the Marcus-Melly relationship, ... What are the reasons for those dots? We already know that Marcus likes women in that political context, right? When we met Marcus, who was he in an affair with, LBJ?
Oh, Marcus was laid up with the mayor's wife, and he has a thing for older women of non-color, and he was all
in power. Women in that power.
In power, yeah. And I thought he was walking in to smash. I was like, smashing so soon, Marcus? Like really? Like the way he walked and looked at her. But that I feel you, Stephanie Beard. Yes.
Yeah, I think she's on something
as well because of the way he walked in. He walked in. He had to look like a because she's doing all the pretty stuff. She's doing all the pretty stuff, and she was enhancing the pretty, I should say. Yeah. And it definitely could have taken a turn. So Stephanie Beard, I'm watching with you. I got my eye on that right there. Okay.
And LBJ, I have to say, we're having this reminder about Marcus and the context in which we know him. At the same time, we're having another, look back at the past, and it is with who? It's in the form of Susan Ross. Because LBJ, we have watched Susan Ross in her moment of glory at the debate make a reference to her husband. Now, we also know that Olivia has information in her hands about Susan Ross. Where did she get it from? She got it from the Vargas brother, right?
The Vargas brother, yeah.
The Vargas brother, Senator Vargas is running over on the Democratic, side of things. And she is over here, really now in the shadows, okay, with the Vargas brother trading intel, all right? And the information she got from the Vargas brother was about Susan Ross. Come to find out, LBJ, Susan Ross is not married to this, was never married to this,
yeah.
That she's been talking about, oh, my husband died in the military. No. You were never married to him, Susan Ross. And furthermore, her daughter is not that man's child, LBJ.
Yeah.
And so we find Olivia here moving to the dark side, LBJ, as she pursues this angle. LBJ, what was that whole storyline to you?
So what was crazy about this thing is that Olivia finds out through Quinn, Robin, Lindsay, Janiyah, boom, 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 that Susan Ross has indeed mothered a child that is not by the man that she is telling the American public that's her husband. In fact, the man that she's telling people is her husband was never her husband, right? It was not her husband.
They were never married.
Right, they were never married. So then on top of that,
they were in a monogamous relationship.
Exactly.
For the most part.
They were shacking. Call it what it is. Susan Ross was shacking. She was common law. She was common law. And and so anyhow, so that goes on. They find that out. And Olivia tries to nail her with that, but they further try to nail her by figuring out who the father is because they see a transaction to a DNA test in her bank statements from years ago on her daughter. So Olivia walks in and they track this man down. They find out that this man is indeed in prison, and they go to the prison where he is. And they walk in, and Olivia Pope walks in and finds a man looking like the brawny man standing there, sitting there at the table. And he looks up. And he looks up, and he's like, "Oh wait, it's not working." He's like,
We weren't ready for that.
You weren't. So the man saw. He's like, "Who are you? What are you here for? What are you going to do? Why are you here?" And Olivia's like, "I'm here because I want to know who the father of Susan Ross's baby is. Do you know that you're the father of Susan Ross's baby? I wanted to do a DNA test." He's like, "What do you mean? What are you talking? What do you mean? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a Southern man locked up in here. And when we were growing up as kids, we just played together. And I just want to know." It was a really sad story, right? She's like, "You're going to tell me everything you know about Susan Ross. I'm going to tell you everything you know about Susan Ross." She's leaning in closer and closer and closer to this man. And he's like, "I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't want to be a snitch on Susan Ross. We played together as kids. And so meanwhile, Huck and Quinn, Robin, Lindsay are in the back looking like, what is wrong with this woman? Like, what is going on? How did this happen? Why did this happen? What is going on? Olivia's like, look, you've been in here for a decade. Do you want your freedom or not? Do you want your freedom papers? Because I can get you your freedom papers. He's like, well, I'm good here, right here with my criminal justice master that got me stuck in here, and I'm good staying right where I am. You want to stay here? You know what? No. I got it. Do you think, he's like, well, I can get 3 years for good behavior. In 3 years, I'll get out for good behavior. You think they'll let you out for good behavior, find a little oxy under your mattress? How long, Quinn, will it take for us to get some marijuana planted on him, say that he's been trafficking marijuana through the visitors lounge and all this other stuff? Olivia is on a complete tirade tonight that closely mirrors the work of her father, Rowan Pope.
Yes.
And then she said, and then the plot thickens. So she now commands Quinn, Robin, Lindsay, and Huck to go forth and carry out these orders to force this DNA test on this man and to then prepare to leak this story. Huck is completely conflicted, Janiyah. Huck has all kinds of
rules because now
amazing. I said this on this chat that we were going to see this change in him, especially since he has now disconnected and released himself from his family. He does not want another family broken up for darkness. And what's interesting is something that Quinn, Robin, Lindsay said. She said Olivia is now about to trade in her white hat for a black skull cap in a conversation she had with Gabby Abby Red tonight. And I saw Olivia's black skull cap, and it is relentless. Huck is completely conflicted. He tells Quinn to lay off of going through with Olivia's orders, and she's like, Olivia wants to do this for the client. Like, this is what she's supposed to do. He's like, no, I can't stand to see another family broken up. Janiyah, I have to ask you, what do you say to Huck's transition, and what do you foresee coming of this as it relates to him as a gladiator?
LBJ, I'm really surprised by this. When Huck let go of his family and really kind of said, you know what, I have to be honest about the fact that it's over, I expected him to go a little bit closer to the dark side. I expected his guy to come out a bit more often. I didn't expect to see this new virtuous Huck that we see now. I mean, honestly, Quinn was ready to, gotta hear my mouth. Quinn was ready to follow instructions, and it was Huck that said, you know what, we really can't do this. The course of action, though, that Quinn took and that Huck took to help Olivia remember who she is and remember that she does want to have some boundaries in how she lives her life. She doesn't want to go completely to the dark side. I was really surprised at the approach they took. What they actually ended up doing was Quinn met up with Gabby Abby Red, as you said, LBJ. She had a conversation with Gabby Abby Red. Now, here's what made that interesting. She was talking to Gabby Abby Red as Olivia's friend. And she was saying, hey, we're both friends with Olivia. We know who she is in her essence. And she right now, something has gone berserk. She's stepping outside of her character. And she's really about to do, some damage to Susan Ross, break Susan Ross's family apart, and really basically trudge Susan Ross into the mud where she will need a wool sock. And Quinn is talking to Gabby Abby Red, LBJ, but it's crazy because Gabby Abby Red is the other side of this campaign. You can't talk to Gabby Abby Red as if she's just Olivia's friend. You're literally talking to Susan Ross's campaign. So the next time we see this storyline, it's Fitz coming to confront Olivia in her office. And LBJ, it is Fitz, of all people, it is Fitz who has been brought in to remind Olivia of who she is. And LBJ, that scene between Fitz and Olivia was epic.
Yeah, it was epic, totally epic. Zoe Emil in the chat says, I might not like this new Liv, but I do like the new Fitz. I have to agree. I felt that the way that we saw Fitz and Olivia interact tonight, I loved it. Like, I was never a fan of their romantic relationship. I thought that it was doomed from the start. Yes. We see what happens. But tonight, the way that Fitz came in and pulled a Marcus on Olivia, he came in and got her right. He didn't do it like Marcus did to Melly, but he definitely came in there and got Olivia right for the sake of doing what's right, right? So I think I just said like 30 times in one sentence.
Well, it was relevant. It was relevant.
It was. I mean, it's like you understood exactly what I was saying. You went with
That's right.
And
That's
it made
right.
sense.
That's right. I knew. That's right.
Right.
And quick tangent. Okay. What was my middle school campaign slogan when I ran for student council president?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to be wrong. I got to be right. Tell me what it was.
Make the right choice and write right on your ballot. I thought it was genius. I thought it was genius. LBJ, it was not genius. It further underscored my lame-o-ness, which to this day continues to get in my way out here in these streets.
So let me. Wait. This is. I'm gonna further prolong this tangent so I can get to know you a little bit better. So, Janiyah, you did that in middle school. Let me just talk about college. In college, you made up a nickname for yourself using your name, and Janiyah referred to herself, people, as Miss Congeniality, but the Genia was all caps in the congeniality.
Oh gosh, there's a real problem. There's a real problem with this one right here. In the moment, these things seem so funny to me. It's in hindsight that I realize how whack this stuff is. In the moment, I really think I'm on to something.
Yeah.
And it turns out I'm not. Anyway.
Yeah, but Fitz is on to something though with this whole thing that's going on with Olivia though. Like Fitz came in there with Olivia comes walking in with a cup of coffee. She sees Gabby Aberrett and Quinn Robert and she's like,
and she knows
I'm not messing with y'all.
I have been done in.
Yeah, exactly. And she sees the two Secret Service officers there. Pardon me. She walks into her office. Fitz is there, and he's like, "Look, they go at it this first round. Like, there's 2 rounds of Fitz and Olivia, right? The first round, there's that right word again. The first round, they go at it by Fitz calling Olivia out. He's like, look, you're being real dark right now. You're not playing fair. I've got a great candidate here. Let me do this the right way. I believe in her. She's this, she's that, and the third. Olivia cuts him off. She's like, but she is a liar. She lied to these people. She lied about this man being her husband, and she does not need to be present. I believe in my candidate who can get this job done. He's like, oh, your candidate, you think your candidate can do whatever? She's like, well, you once married this candidate. You birthed children with her. So what do you have to say about this candidate? Why didn't you notice this? He was like, you think you know a person? Olivia's like, yeah, imagine that, thinking you know a person. And
yeah, funny how that happened. That's what she said. Funny how that happened.
And Fitz is all like, oh, shade thrown. Well, let me just say, Olivia, I don't want to be on, what I just don't want is another defiance. He goes and says, I don't want a defiance.
But LBJ, you have to remember exactly how he said it. He said, I don't want Susan Ross to be a victim of a scandal in the way that I was a victim of defiance.
Olivia said, you think that you were a victim? You think that we wanted that? You think we wanted that just because you take something that was not given to you or that you did not purchase, that is also stealing. That is illegal. That is a crime too. You took it, Fitz. You took it. You wanted it too. Yes. And he's like, oh, like, well, yeah, well. Like, it was so good.
And she was right. And she was right. But guess what? So was he. I think in that moment, they both realized that, what? No one is innocent here, and we can't forget that. Fitz is brand new on his high horse, but you know what? We remember you, Fitz. We know who you were. Stephanie Beard in the chat is so good the way she sums it up. She says, Fitz now is the man Liv wanted to make president. I guess he had to lose everything to grow up. Drop the mic, Stephanie Beard. That's exactly what it was. I mean, literally, it got to the point where Fitz, there were no more stakes. He's already been reelected, right? The stakes, he's not fighting for anything else. He lost Liv, he lost Melly, he's not even allowed to date, okay? And he had to lose everything, LBJ, but now he's matured. We're finding him moving actually toward virtue. So the way that piece wraps up is that, at the end of that initial conversation with Fitz and Olivia, Olivia is still hell-bent on using that intel she's got on Susan Ross. Now, it turns out that that guy that they had coerced, the baby daddy, he couldn't take the pressure, and he actually hung himself in his cell. He couldn't bear to be a snitch. He couldn't bear to hurt Susan Ross and to hurt the little girl Kate. He couldn't bear it. And so LBJ, he took his own life. And so what ends up happening is it becomes a non-issue, you know? And now just before we found out that he passed away, though, we see Fitz having a come to Jesus with Susan Ross. Mm-hmm. And he's saying to Susan Ross, you know what? Be a virtuous person. Just come clean. And Susan Ross is saying, you know what? If I do that, I'll lose. People won't be able to believe me. And then Fitz says to her, well, you know what? Maybe you won't believe. He said, maybe those people won't believe in you, but I'll believe in you. And that's all I really want. And they have a moment. And so Susan Ross, she's putting her big girl panties, and she's going to own up to everything that has happened and let the chips fall where they may. Well, guess what? Those chips never fell because that man took his life. That storyline was no longer alive. Yeah. And so Susan Ross goes on with the charade that was in place. Segue now to the next piece of the Susan Ross storyline, which is her in a romantic liaison with David Rosen. LBJ, this is really getting funny at this point.
It is. I love the fact you said liaison. It's like saying the concierge, the liaison.
Or croissant.
Coup de thé, coup de bœuf, foie gras.
We don't know French words. We're saying food. Well, that's all we know.
Right. Bonjour les buts and c'est So listen, there was something very key that happened tonight, though, in the breakthrough with Fitz and Susan Ross. So Fitz, Janiyah, sat there and told Susan Ross the story of defiance. What? We've never seen that happen before.
Never.
There are people who are close to them that don't know about defiance. Remember, that was something that they made a blood oath pretty much. Like, we're taking this to our grave.
Fitz took somebody to their grave to keep that
literally, secret. Exactly.
Literally, he killed, what was the lady? Was she a Supreme Court justice?
She was a Supreme Court justice.
He literally
walked in her room and was just like, he walked in her room and was like, go down. Like, crazy.
He literally has killed. And now, as we were talking about with Stephanie Beard in the chat, he's this whole new man, and he literally spills the whole beans to Susan.
Yeah, he's too vulnerable. Ross. He's way too vulnerable, and he's becoming a risk at this point. Fitz needs someone to come and poke him, and I think what he needs to get him right is something that we saw. We mentioned earlier in the chat, but we need to get it out and bring it back. And he needs that nectar. Olivia needs to come
to get him focused.
Take one slice of the nectar. And squeeze it on him just one time. You see what happened last week when a tablespoon, exactly. Yeah. Just a tablespoon of nectar helps medicine go down. It helps the Fitz stay in line. Fitz stay in line.
That's right.
Just a tablespoon of nectar helps Fitz stay in line in the most delightful way. So.
LBJ, you know who has not only a spoonful but a mouthful and a cupful and is rolling all through his veins? It is David Rosen. That man is in love. Hear what I say. That man is in love with Susan Ross. I mean, he's on smitten, LBJ. He is really in love with this woman. You'll recall last episode, just as he had broken up with Lizzie Bear DeGeneres, and he was going to Susan Ross to really, give his heart to her fully, she sensed that he was not being faithful to her, and she broke up with him. And so in this episode, we watch him apologizing, and you know what Susan Ross is saying? Listen, at this point, all you are to me is a prop. I need you here on my arm to help me win this campaign, but I am not picking up what you're dropping. And so that's pretty much where we left the Susan Ross storyline. We left Susan Ross really at the top of her game in terms of her campaign. She's out there with David Rosen in the media. The world is loving it. She really did a great job at the debate. And so and now that one man that could have been her undoing, that one storyline about her truth coming out about her child, that man is gone. So Susan Ross really is on top. And after all that happens, Fitz comes back to Olivia, and we're back again at OPA, and they have an agreement. Olivia has been shocked back to reality because of this man killing himself. And she says, you know what, Fitz, I do want to have a campaign that is above board, okay? And she says, let's agree to that. And LBJ, they do. Let's see if this will last.
I think that it will last as long as they want it to last. I think that we will definitely see Fitz and Olivia back in bed again, and it's going to be icky for the candidates, and they are going to have to put the smack down on them and be like, look, either get out of bed with each other and do right, or stay in bed with each other, and we're bouncing. But who did not bounce in tonight's episode was Jake sitting at that table in Papa Pope's house as he ate that fried chicken from the refrigerator. And Edison and Rowan Pope tonight, Janiyah. Yes. Jake sat there in the midst of all that was taking place in the episode tonight. So let's take a few steps back. Olivia and the Vargas brother are exchanging secrets. Olivia leaks to the Vargas brother that Edison had a bout with an addiction to painkillers, and he went to a Meridian Terrace rehab facility, and she gave him the name of the nurse that checked him in, who knew everything that happened, and she gave that information as leverage to leak to the media to the Vargas camp. The Vargas camp leaks it at the recommendation to withhold it for right now from Cyrus being. And they leaked this story so strategically and perfect that the story comes out just before Senator Vargas gets off of the bus and is headed to an event. So what do they do? Senator Vargas, we got questions for you. What do you think about Edison? And he says these things about Edison. He keeps going. Less than 24 hours later, turn on the news, breaking story. Meridian Terrace is talking, and this woman looks like she's seen a ghost, and she's like, those accusations are all false. We've never even seen that man before. We apologize to Mr. Edison's family. All this is going on, and we do apologize. It never happened. Vargas looks at Brother Vargas like, brother, what happened? Did you betray me? What happened? Take care of me and look at this, and this didn't happen right. Well, just before that press conference from Meridian Terrace, everyone, let's go back to Jake eating the fried chicken, right? So Jake is in the kitchen at Rowan Pope's home with Edison, and Edison is going off on Rowan Pope. And he's telling him like, look, you know why this got out there? There's only one person who puts it out there. It's the one person that knows about this. Because Rowan's trying to lay into Edison like, I thought you told me this was buried. I thought we'd never hear anything about this story. Why are we hearing anything about this story? You told me it was buried. And he's like, well, the reason you heard about this story is because there's only one person who still knows about the story. And that is your daughter, Olivia Pope. Liked and said it, and Jake was sitting there like Regine Hunter from Living Single, like just eating with a good wig. All he needed was one wig, and keep picking up that fried chicken. He would have been Regine, like just catching the gossip. Living Single. And Rowan Pope looked at him in such disgust, Janiyah, because of the way that he was talking about his daughter. Deborah Battle says, I said it before, Edison has no idea who he is dealing with. # monster of all time, Papa Pope.
Absolutely. He has no idea, LBJ. We watched this hustle. We came to find out that Edison was in cahoots with Papa Pope based on an investigation that Olivia and Quinn and OPA and Associates had done. They were looking into Jake. They were looking into Papa Pope and trying to figure out what they were up to. Come and find out last episode that they were funding whose campaign? Edison's campaign.
Yep.
So at the end of last week's episode, we felt like Papa Pope, for one second, we got confused about the dynamics of this. We thought that Papa Pope was supporting Edison. How could we possibly even think that for a second, LBJ? Right there in that kitchen in tonight's episode, Papa Pope laid it down nice and clear. He said a couple of things. He said, number one, listen here, Edison, don't ever point the finger at my daughter. And in fact, I think what Papa Pope said was, don't even have my daughter's name cross your lips ever again in any circumstance, even if she is in the wrong. Don't say my daughter's name, number one.
He said, keep my daughter's name out of your mouth. That's what he said to him.
LBJ, I got the sound effect right.
You did. Yeah, you got it right.
That's right. LBJ, he is calling, he's checking Edison. The other thing he says is, Edison, don't forget right now who is the boss. And it was so funny how we watched him make Edison stumble. He said, Edison, do you want to be a boss? And Edison's like, yeah, I don't want to be a boss. And Papa Pope looks at him like, are you crazy? Do you want to be a boss? And Papa Pope is basically forcing Edison to realize that he not only cannot be a boss, he will never be the boss, LBJ, because there is only one boss, and it is the hell, and it is the high water, and it is who? It is none other than Papa Pope himself. As I was watching that scene, I could barely pay attention because I wanted so badly, LBJ, for you to be taking notes. So that you, LBJ, can please document that scene for us, LBJ. We need you to embody Papa Pope, as you have done so many times before, and remind us of how he laid it down and told Edison the 1, 2, 3, 4 about who was the boss.
Okay, so he goes, so Edison's talking to Papa Pope, and he gives him, Rowan always does that whole "Are you finished?" look at somebody before he starts speaking, right? He lets him go because he's gathering. In my mind of Rowan Pope, I think he's gathering talking points, like all the bullets, and then running down like this. It's like this hologram piece of paper in front of him. He's like organizing his thoughts, like right there, right? So he looks like, are you done? And then he says, he says, you spoke of my daughter, Olivia. Don't ever speak of my daughter, Olivia. The audacity of you to stand here in my kitchen and mention my daughter's name with such disgust discusses me. Don't you speak of my daughter, Olivia. Do you want to be a boss? Do you want to be a boss?
Yes. No.
Do you want to be president?
Yes.
Then you want to be a boss. Being the president is a boss. Only a boss can be the president. In fact, I am the boss. And if you ever try to forget who is the boss around here, you will remember me. And he says it on his breath. He's like, Matt Meridian Terrace. What's that? Do you want to be a boss? I am the boss. Remember, I run this. You run nothing. You do as I say. That is what I pretty much.
That was so good. That was exactly it. And the one thing that Papa Pope did as he was really clarifying for Edison who was indeed the boss, he walks over to Jake, LBJ. We're watching Jake.
Yes.
He's sitting there having chicken, having a good time. He taps Jake on his shoulder and says, you know what, Edison? If you get a little too far out of line, you won't even ever see a line again, and I'll make sure of it. And he taps Jake on his shoulder just to show Edison, listen, I literally have a trained murderous beast sitting here eating chicken at this very table staring at you. And Jake just looks right at Edison with his dead eyes, He's sitting there eating that chicken with his guy fully out. That was his guy eating that chicken. Okay.
It was.
He's sitting there eating that chicken, and he gives Edison the look that kind of says, I will literally eat you the way I'm eating this chicken.
It was so good. But see, Yolanda Baker was like, Jake and that finger looking DC chicken again. If you're hungry, Jake says, if you're hungry, there's some in the fridge. Can I tell you though? It really did make me want a fresh chicken breast, fresh out of the grease. Though that chicken breast looked very.
It's me. I was like, oh, I wish I had chicken here.
Yeah, and I keep looking like this is probably really fat at me, but I keep looking around like this area, like we need some chicken in there. I was like, that's how good Jake make that chicken look.
Yes.
While he's at that counter eating at that island, eating that chicken, it was so good.
LJ, I kid you not. I was at a fundraiser this evening, and I had the choice between chicken and steak, and I took the steak. After that scene, I was like, I should have had the chicken.
Exactly.
You know, they should have done some chicken advertisement right after that scene. I'd have been ordering on Seamless. Like, let me get that chicken.
Right.
LBJ, Zoe Emil in the chat says, I'm going to need Edison to fall back and not talk sideways about Olivia, especially in the presence of the one and only Eli Rowan Pope. Thank you so much. Edison, honey, if you know what is good for you, you will go and get a notepad and a good big pen, okay? And take yourself some notes, sir. You don't ever need to shape your mouth to try to check Papa Pope again. Just remember, you are not the boss, Edison. You are not the boss. Yeah. And LBJ, somebody else got checked tonight about who was the boss, and that was over on the Vargas campaign. Mm-hmm. So we are watching, this power struggle. You'll remember last episode, LBJ, that we were watching Cyrus feel like the Vargas brother Alex was taking his place as campaign manager. And Cyrus is getting super grumpy about it. This is my candidate. Oh, man, this is my return to glory. And then here we have this brother to the candidate on the Vargas campaign, and he has been successfully leading his brother to victory for years and years and years. And we watched the fact that all the people that work for the Vargas campaign, they have an allegiance to this brother. We also were watching the candidate himself have an allegiance to the brother. And Cyrus, once again, just being edged out, just like he was at the White House at LBJ multiple times.
Yes.
And finally, though, tonight the tables turned when, as you were telling earlier, LBJ, that story that the Vargas brother put out there on the streets, okay? He put it out there trying to bash Edison. Papa Pope comes in. He resolves it, makes the witness recant her story. And so what ends up happening? We see this power start to shift. The candidate Vargas is now looking to Cyrus as the campaign manager and leader of the campaign. And we're watching, the brother start to be put a little bit in the background because of this blender. Now, LBJ, there was a very important little exchange that I missed. And I need you to help me understand what it was. Right after this power shift occurred, Cyrus was leaving the Vargas campaign offices, and Tom, his boo, came to get him. What did Cyrus say to Tom?
First of all, Cyrus, oh wait, did I?
What did he say?
First of all, he's sitting there and he looks back over his shoulder and he notices Tom. He calls Tom what? His ride.
Yeah, my ride.
My ride. Hashtag double entendre.
He's huge.
He's huge. He's huge. That's Cyrus's ride. Tom is Cyrus's ride. Yes. So Cyrus sees his ride come into the campaign office and he walks out. As they're walking out, he says to him, "Thanks for taking care of Meridian Terrace." Tom is the one that went to Meridian Terrace and got the woman to make that statement at the news conference. And that's why she was looking like she saw a ghost. at the news conference.
Thank you
And
for that.
that
Thank you
also
for
was a
that.
power play for Cyrus internally
Whoa.
to get the power shift to come back to him because he saw that his brother was indeed connected to a tremendous source that the brother now thinks is a bad source because he thinks Olivia set him up.
LBJ.
And someone, and
So
yes,
Eli Rowan Pope was not the one who got to the witness. It was Tom on behalf of Cyrus.
exactly. Stephanie
Whoa.
points out again. She says Rowan said that he was going to take care of it, but Tom actually did in the guise of helping Cyrus. Am I the only one that sees that Tom is still a double agent? Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Stephanie, because you know what? We made this prediction last week, or maybe it was the week before.
Yep.
Tom cannot be trusted. At the end of the day, he is a B613. He can't break free even if he wants to. You know, he probably was having some of that fried chicken just this morning.
Don't say it anymore. I want a piece. It's too late.
I know,
It's having it so bad.
And LBJ, we see Tom right now, you know, bobbing and weaving. Tom, who are you working for? I just feel like, LBJ, there is something to this Tom being in cahoots with Cyrus. What is Eli Rowan Pope up to? Is it possible that Eli Rowan Pope has a candidate on both sides so that he can decide who wins? LBJ,
Let me tell you, it's bananas, but Cyrus will never play in the same pool as Rowan Pope like that. Rowan Pope is like, I mean, Cyrus to Rowan is like oil and water. They do not mix. It's like Cyrus is the rain and Rowan is the umbrella. He is untouched and unfazed by Cyrus being. I think that Tom is there. Why do we call him Jake? I think Tom is there to watch Cyrus and keep an eye on him to watch. Remember, Rowan knows what Cyrus is capable of. He can shut his camp down if he needs to. Meanwhile, Rowan knows that his people like sex, so Tom can get broke off by Cyrus anytime he wants because he's his ride.
You know what? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Tom is a goon. I feel like he is a clone, and maybe that's just because I'm obsessed with this other show called Orphan Black. We'll talk about that later. But let me just say, I'm like, Tom, number one, why are you never dead? You just never die. Number two, he's just a robot. He has no allegiance. And the other thing about Tom is that he is completely forgettable. Tom is so plain. He could be anywhere. And if he I thought he was in here. He could be anywhere, LBJ. He is completely forgettable, which is what makes him such a wonderful weapon, LBJ. He just blends into the background, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Tom cannot be trusted. Cyrus, #watch your back. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's so we've got to watch a few things here. Stephanie says, since Alex Vargas thinks Olivia played him, could he have had the guy in prison killed so that he can't use the information that he gave her? Maybe something else happened. Very quickly, Yolanda Baker makes a prediction, which is a perfect way for us to segue into any predictions that we have. Yes. I don't think that Susan Ross's baby daddy killed himself. Could Huck have done it? Could Huck have done it to protect him from all of that? What do you think? What's on your mind regarding predictions?
Oh my gosh, LBJ, you know what? Predictions, I have so many. Number one, I think that we are going to see David and Susan get back together. I think Susan, she's warming up to David. You know, we watched her, you know, almost, you know, checking him in even a kind of a playful way toward the end. That's my first prediction. My second prediction is that there is something brewing between Melly and Marcus. I mean, it just seems so strange that rapport we're starting to see them build. Number three, I think Melly is going to have to answer that question for the public about why Olivia is running her campaign. Now, she didn't answer the question tonight, LBJ. They posed it at the debate. They said, why do you have the woman who tore your marriage apart running your campaign? Olivia didn't get a chance to answer it. I mean, Melly didn't get a chance to answer it, but she's going to have to, LBJ. The other thing I think we're going to start to see now that the first debate of the Republican side is taken care of, I think we're going to start to spend a little bit more time in the episode focused on the Democratic side, which is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I agree with every single prediction that you said there.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say that we are not done seeing the dark side of Olivia Pope.
At all.
And earlier in the conversation, I said that I have something to say about Olivia. I didn't want the women to be mad, but I think that we are seeing what happens when a woman is scorned. And Olivia, and Olivia needs help right now. My mother texted me like, Olivia's acting just like her daddy. She needs a man. I'm like, hold on, wait, Mom, no. She doesn't need a man yet. She needs a therapist, okay? She needs a therapist to talk about her past hurts and her wounds that she's not dealing with. And she's operating out of a broken and bitter place in her life. She's operating out of that darkness in her personal life, in her outward life, or her public life. And it's not good. And it's showing her in a very, very, very bad light. I mean, it's really calling people to question her character. This is not the Olivia Pope that they know. Now, mind you, we know that she's capable of being dark. Why? Because she knows that her people kill people. She also was a part of a group that stole an election. So she's capable of some things. Anybody who was involved in Defiance is able to defy several things in life, or they can attempt to break barriers that should not be broken because it's dark. So Olivia has a lot to deal with. I submit to you that we should go back to what I suggested several seasons ago and bring back Marla Gibbs's character as a fixer in her life. She needs a good maternal character to come in there and let her lay in her bosom and cry and say, baby, it's going to be okay. And let her talk it out, get some maternal wisdom, some old wisdom, and lay it on her to get her set straight. Maybe this will be a reason for us to see Maya Pope. I'm wanting to see Maya Pope return and give us a good Livy. I need to see that. I need to see.
But LBJ, Livy. Cynthia Akampong in the chat, she really sums up what you were just talking about, LBJ. She said, I don't know how I feel about this Olivia Pope. She is entering into a stage that I don't think she can turn back from. She is morphing into Papa Pope too much for my liking. LBJ, who else is she morphing into? I think it's the woman that you just mentioned.
Absolutely. It's her mom. And
absolutely.
And this goes, I'm going to put my period here on this. Jake called this out, I think, 2 episodes ago. He called her a monster. We are seeing the monster that is Olivia Pope.
Yeah.
Her guy is coming out, and she is a monster.
Yes,
that's
and
all I've got for
the Jackie O 2006 said, Olivia is off the rails when Huck says she's going too far. Marcus is sharp, he's working Melly nerves, but he's on the money.
Yep.
Thank you, Jackie O 2006. When Huck is the one to say that Olivia is off the rails, Mr. Off the Rails himself, don't forget about cheeseburger. The man is bonkers. We know that about him.
752.
That's Huck. And that crazy 752 is the one telling you that you're off the rails. Girlfriend, you off the rails.
Yep, I agree. What is also off the rails are some of these comments in the Q&A tonight for this round robin. Let's get it, crack-a-lack. And Cynthia from Toronto, our friend with the Maple Leaf. I have friends in Toronto as well. They are in Oshawa. Bravo, Miss Janaya and Mr. Brown Jr. You can call us Larry and Janaya. From the ladies in Toronto, Canada, who speak French. And let me say Toronto, not Toronto.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, qu'est-ce que c'est? We appreciate the attempt. Open invitation to visit us in Toronto. We will show you guys a great time, okay? We just loved your singing. Thank you so much. Tell my wife that you love my singing. Candace, I hope you're watching. I'm going to come up and sing tonight. I love to sing around here. And I'm actually from Cité des Trois, Cynthia. So I've been to Toronto before. I'm just so highfalutin tonight. I'm so high. I'm a Larry Langston. Lovers of Liberty.
Zoe email in the chat says, I really like Susan and David. We saw a little darkness from Susan tonight, too. We can't forget about that. Our prior prediction about the dark side coming out of Susan.
Absolutely. Also in the Q&A is Idon Matrix. Idon Matrix, what's up? Where you been? Welcome back. Idon says, Janaya, there is a long line for Marcus's hashtag high booty, and you're in the middle toward the back. Sorry. Oh, God.
Not the middle toward the back.
That's so funny. But then to add to that, Stephanie Beard is back here, and she says, I want to know how she knew how to say, because you got a high booty. Oh, well, Melly did in the dressing room. Very good point. Very good point.
It's so good. Probably the same way that Fitz knew how to talk about keeping it real tonight, right?
Yes,
They
keeping it
really,
real. So Olivia's like, well, let's keep it real. He's like, oh, you're going to take all my lines? Sir, that's not your line.
That's not your line, sir, and you're horrible at delivering it also. LBJ, let us talk about Stephanie Beer's statement about Susan. Susan threw at Melly and Hollis in her statement, both for not keeping her husband in line and Hollis for having his business being kept by American soldiers putting their lives on the line. She did a double swap, sliced them, LBJ, got rid of them quick, fast, and in a hurry. She really dropped the mic at that debate.
She did, definitely drop the mic. Zoe Emil is giving us yet another nickname to add to our lexicon of nicknames. So the Scandalous and the recap. She says Susan Ross is lamb chop. Should we call Susan Ross lamb chop?
Here we are.
Well, it's Susan's play along where you can come be sing a song. Let me tell you, if you pop up next week with the curly red wig on, I'm not doing the show. I'm not doing the show.
Challenge accepted. Jackie of 2006 says, President Grant is running around D.C. dispensing pearls of wisdom to Olivia and Susan. I like this Fitz, presidential Fitz, not pussyfooting Fitz. Susan is going for the power, capital P, but I like her and David. She's more his type, grounded yet crazy. I agree with you, Jackie O. I agree.
And you know what? I also thank you for saying, Cynthia, that I'm a great singer, because this just in, Candace is watching. She said, I'm definitely watching. So see, my vocal abilities are becoming international, Candace. They're becoming international.
No. Candace just said she was watching. She didn't say, yes, please continue singing. Let's just be clear. Okay? She didn't say, keep up the good work, babe. That's not what she said. She acknowledged her presence. Let's be real clear. I got you, Candace. I'm clarifying the record. Okay? LBJ, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Was there a Scandal Jam session tonight? Did I miss it?
Yes, we had 2 Scandal Jam sessions tonight. The first was Stevie Wonder. The first one was Dave. Oh gosh, it's Dave and Rob, and it's a song, "Hold On, I'm Coming." And then the second one is, you know that song. You know the song, "Hold On, I'm coming." Hold on, I'm coming. See, I got to sing again. Then
you ain't slick. Candace said, "Insert side eye." You ain't slick. You ain't slick.
Then the second jam session was Stevie Wonder's version of "Sunny." You know, "Sunny." I forget the lyrics, but it's "Sunny." We've actually had that song as a Scandal Jam session before in the show, a few seasons before. So those are our jam session songs tonight.
Yeah, I'm so happy to remember. LBJ, we have been forgetting to talk about the jam sessions. I'm happy we remembered tonight.
Yes, we forgot last week. We had 3 last week. I don't know what they were, but just go back and look at my Twitter. They're up there. This has been great. It's late.
So good.
Yeah.
And it's so late. LBJ, thank you so much tonight. This was so much fun. Everybody in the chat, oh my gosh, thank you so much for tuning in with us. I look forward to this all week. Thank you so much, guys.
Yep, we love you guys for watching. We will see you next week, and tell another friend about the Scandalous Scandal recap. We will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.